Hey, Keith.
Hey, Mitch. How are you?
It's that time of the week again.
It's that time of the favorite time of the week.
It is podcast time, turning over the sands of time.
Podcast 30.
Podcast 30. So how you been?
I've been good. Good. This is going to date the podcast, but I mean the date's in the name, but it's really been hot lately.
It has been.
I wasn't ready for it. We had really good weather. You know, it was like in the 80s, like low 80s for July. It was great. Now it's hot. So I'm glad to be in air conditioning.
It's hot and sweltering.
Sweltering.
We haven't had the combinations, until now.
Yeah.
It is here.
It's here, and I'm glad we're not like a podcast that's based outdoors or something.
Correct.
So,
question.
Yes.
What is your favorite arcade game?
Man, that's tough.
And I don't mean like arcade game. Like I want more specific as like fun amusement park, like broader. You don't have category. Because you're gonna go all like Space Invaders 3 on the old console.
I really like skee ball. Skee ball's fun.
That was gonna be mine.
But I would say this.
I am terrible at it, but it's fun. That might be the game I'm the worst at and enjoy the most. Does that make sense?
It's really about just the repetitive motion, getting the same motion over and over. Mm-hmm. It's like bowling, right? Bowling's all about finding the motion that works for you, right, and repeating it over and over again. And that's a skee ball, just miniaturized.
I just hope people watch this on YouTube to watch you do the motions.
The motion, the motion of the throwing the ball. I would say this though, if there was like an amusement park or something that had like not a miniaturized version, but like a version of like Wheel of Fortune that you could play, I would be. That would be the worst. I would be on it. I would be. That would be. My wife and I. We would.
I sometimes leave out letters spelling my name. Bad speller, Keith.
Yeah,
I'm a bad speller.
So you ever see those? Wheel of Fortune like fails like. When it's like apparently obvious what it is.
It's all there, and then they just mispronounce it. Like all the letters are there, and they say it wrong.
And they just say it wrong, or like
you're like, nope.
You know, it's like you're like movie, dude, where's my car, right? And like instead of car, it's CA, right? And they're like, dude, where's my cat? And you're like,
no.
It's worse. It's worse too when they replace that letter that's off
with one that's already on the board.
Oh my gosh! But you have to think like when you're on TV like that, the pressure is probably like outrageous, right? And I'm sure they probably where you can't see it, they got a little timer, above the board where it's like you got 4 seconds to like, are you gonna spin? You're gonna solve? It's like 4, 3, 2. I'll solve. It's like, oh, okay, and then you're like, 4, 3, 2. You gotta spit something out. It'd be terrible. But if it was like in a
casual
version of it, I think I would rock that.
Okay.
Yeah. So how about other than skee ball?
Other than like I said, I do think skee ball is the game that I am the worst at, but enjoy the most. So I do think that's a new discovery I just made right now.
What about the basketball shoot, the hoop one? Do you like doing that?
No, those are all rigged.
Are they?
Yeah, there's a great Mark Robert, not a sponsor, but there's a great Mark Robert video about the tips and tricks of the carnival games. Right? Okay. It's a little higher than 10 foot.
Oh, okay.
And they move it.
I just mean like if you went to like an arcade thing and they had one there. I don't mean like a carnival. We all know carnival games
carnival
are
games.
rigged.
Oh, you mean the Papa-Shot?
Yeah, the Papa. Like if you just went to
Oh yeah, I'm pretty bad at that one too.
I think the problem is the net on the top is so low. Because when you're really doing basketball, you need that arch. You need that arch, right? And that net is always in the way of my shots. Mark
Rober says on those, you're going to go to the Chuck E. Cheese or the whatever, and you're going to you want to get the tickets and score the points on the things.
Yep.
You scan your card in 2 of the machines next to each other.
Yes.
And get the basketballs from one into the other. So you have twice as many basketballs because what limits you on your scoring is that little bumper that slows down the balls to let them through. But if you have twice as many basketballs in the game, twice as many balls get through the bumper, twice as many shots you can take.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you just borrow the basketballs from the game next door to rack up the points.
I feel like that's cheating. Could you do the same thing with skee ball? I guess you just do 2 at once. And just actually, why don't you just do 2 at once and do a right-handed and a left-handed shot?
And just stand in the middle.
Just stand in the middle.
That would be ridiculously inefficient. That would be the most missed baskets possible.
And since when did Chuck E. Cheese go from coins to a card? And the thing about the card is you can scan it at like 8 different games. So like we went, I can't remember if it was Piper's birthday or Penny's birthday. They really want to go to Chuck E. Cheese. We're like, okay. So like we went, my parents went, and we got 2 cards for the 2 kids. But like all 6 of us are playing games. Nobody cared.
Yeah.
They should go back to coins.
Why?
I don't know. I just really like putting the coin in the machine.
Oh, there was one.
You know what I mean? Like
okay,
that putting the coin in the machine felt like you paid something and then you earned something. Like, you know what I mean? You just swipe a card. It's like a credit card. You just go in the store, you pick some stuff out, you go, bloop. Deal with that later.
All right. Well, we'll unpack all your your spending habits later. But I think I found there's this game. We went over Christmas break. Went with my my nephews. We took all the kids. We do something. We do an experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my brother and his kids, and myself and Laura and our kids. And so instead of like getting each other gifts at Christmas, we just go do something.
Oh, that'd be
so
fun.
then nobody piles up their house with stuff they don't need.
Yeah.
And they do.
You don't have to think about, oh my gosh, what does this person?
Yeah,
really
we just
want?
like, what do you guys want to do this year? We've done the tee shots. We've done bowling. We've done stuff.
Have you done the iFly or whatever, where you get a fly? They have that big fan.
No, we talked about that.
It seems fun.
But we did the arcade thing. I can't remember, main event, I think. Anyway, they got this little. Once again, back to baseball. But they got this little baseball game where you pull back this lever. And when you got to let it go at the right time, because this marble thing rolls down and it whacks it.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
And then
kind of like pinball, but
it's just like pinball.
Okay.
Except the flacker's longer.
Okay.
And it looks like
like
a baseball. Looks like a baseball bat.
Right.
And then the whole thing is set up as a field. And then where the ball ends up, you can get a runner on. You can ground out. So you get 3 outs per play.
Okay.
Right? And then if you whack it just right, it gains air.
Oh.
And then there's like a little home run trough that like scoots back
Moves
and
back and
forth
forth,
across the outfield.
All
So
right.
you can like drop it, if you knock it in, so
Yeah.
you got to time it. You got to get ahead of the pitch to pull the ball.
Sure,
Right?
sure.
Anyway, I had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. Were you good at it?
Terrible at first, but then I kind of got the hang of it.
Yeah, you gotta get a feel
I got
for
the
it.
hang of it.
It's the same thing as skee ball
you
or the basketball.
Just pulling back the plunger.
You just gotta get used to it.
I did like it, but it was a game of skill, not a game of chance.
Yes, I like games of skill, not games of chance. Now, some people sometimes argue that they think something's a game of chance, but it's really skill. Like I will point out like poker, like Texas Hold'em, right? It's really about math. It's about probabilities and math, right? So it's really I would consider it a game of skill.
Oh,
even though
yeah.
it's a chance of the cards, it's really a game of skill. My favorite thing growing up is I had this computer game that it's called Space Quest, and just a tiny part of the computer game is you didn't have any money and you had to buy a spaceship to continue in the game, okay? And the only way to really do it was to play like video poker, or whatever, okay? And I just had such a fun time that I earned enough money for the spaceship I needed, but I just kept playing for I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks or something. I just kept playing the cards.
So you could get a better spaceship.
So I had
There's
money
only
for
one.
the time.
There's
There
only
was 3 spaceships.
Oh.
And you had to pick right which one you wanted. The most expensive space, like 2 of them would they would like explode or whatever, and you'd have to start over, go to a save game or whatever.
All right.
And then
Well, we'll
one
unpack your addictive personality on another podcast
Yeah,
as
okay.
well.
we need a licensed therapist.
We need an intervention podcast.
So why are we talking about games, Mitch?
Well, we had this discussion with Pastor Adam. We're talking about one of his favorite games is this the spin and win game, which is, and you've seen them. There's lots of different ones, but some of them are the lights going around, and that's the one I really don't trust. Like I could get on board with the I could get on board trusting the Price is Right wheel.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
One
The Price
thing
is Right.
that I would like to spin that wheel someday. Like,
be kinda fun.
Like, they should just do that. I bet they could make more money than they even make on the advertising of the show if they just put that wheel on the street in Hollywood and you just pay $1 to come spin the wheel.
Oh, that'd be fun,
right?
Yeah,
I bet they'd make more because they wouldn't have any. They just have some high school kids stand there and be the attendant.
Would you try to like?
Oh, yeah.
Like you gotta just like not not
you
just
gotta
like
spin that
gently
thing
doing
so hard they go.
Yeah,
That's
so
what
it
you're
almost comes off.
Yeah,
of the thing, like
and then
they're
rolls
scared
down
for
the
a
street,
minute.
turns into some Hollywood Indiana Jones scene.
Wow, that'd be good. Yeah. No, I like that. Yeah.
But anyway, so I can get on board with that. The Price is Right wheel, I trust. I trust that it's appropriately balanced because I'm convinced of it. But the spinning light thing, where you got to slap the button and the light stops.
Well, it doesn't even like necessarily stop immediately. Sometimes it just starts to slow down.
Like, what is that?
It's totally an algorithm. Like you can
slap the button whenever you want.
I
so I don't
agree.
trust that. But so I guess what I'm saying is the game. So Adam likes to spin and win.
Spin and win.
And I guess he's
at Dave and Buster's.
He's claiming it's a game of skill.
Okay.
To pick the most perfect, the most precise, your this control of your destiny in the game is on your ability to be perfect. That's what he's on board with there. And I want to compare that to God's plan for your life.
Okay.
And how you can live into being who God created you to be. And does that or does that not put the pressure on you to be in complete and utter perfect control of the timing and the variables to produce the one product that, quote, air quotes, God's got for your life.
So are you saying, in a weird metaphorical way, life is a game of skill and not chance?
No, I'm asking the question.
Yeah, well,
I'm not saying.
Oh, you're not taking a position.
No,
you're just asking the question.
I'm posing a question.
I mean, I could get on board with that. I could get on board with a yes.
I'm going to stop you right there because I'm going to get on board with anywhere and everywhere you have an opportunity to live into God's calling for that space and place at that moment in time. No matter whether you made a bunch of bad decisions to get there, you could still make a good, right decision in that moment. Or whether everything lined up for you to make great decisions to get to that point, that doesn't mean you're always making great decisions no matter what decision you make. You can still make a bad decision and affect the journey. But it seems as though there's always an opportunity to make a corrective course of action. It's never too late.
Yeah, I think that and I'm trying to come up with a mundane example, but I think that there's times in our life where we're being directed to do something, and we know what it is we don't want to do, right? But those those I would call them hints, right?
Yeah.
Those strong hints just get stronger,
and one of those hints is
stronger and stronger.
You really don't want to.
Yeah, right. And I think that for me, that kind of filters into this, which is you can still make the choice not to do said thing, right? And and the hints will keep coming. stronger and stronger. You can ignore the hints, but then that's like ignoring what your purpose is in life too.
Yeah, we had a whole podcast about people running from God.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I could definitely say that. What this kind of reminds me of, one of my favorite analogies. This is absolutely hands down my favorite analogy from Adam, right? Which is,
Not the first man in the Bible, Senior Pastor Adam.
yeah,
Okay, okay, good.
not Adam and Eve, Pastor Adam, is that the other Pastor Adam from Kansas City. God's plan is like a river, right? Like think of like the Mississippi, right? When it gets to the ocean, the Mississippi is huge, right? Big ships come through it. But if you trace that river back to the beginning, it's just a small, like, it's just a small creek, right? And it's even smaller than that, right? Like it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And there are, you can, as it gets smaller, you can, you can get rocks and you can put them in it and try to dam up that river, but it's still the Mississippi, right? Like it's still going to end up a giant river and exactly going into the ocean just like it should, right? And so you can obviously, that's purposely trying to stop God's plan. But I wonder about the times where we don't even try to purposely do it, right? Like I'm talking about ignoring something that I should probably do. That's like avoiding or trying to not do it. But like even like
That's like Jonah not getting on the boat to Tarshish.
Yeah.
Right? Like, nah,
Yeah.
I'll just stay here.
nah, I'm good. Yeah. Yeah, so I really like that analogy, and I think it fits here.
So we just finished up VBS
Yeah.
and Vacation Bible School, and it was a great week. We were there, and the memory verse for the kids was Hebrews 12:2. Let us keep looking to Jesus. He is the one who started this journey of faith, and he is the one who completes this journey of faith, which was a great verse for the kids. I think it's freeing and liberating to recognize, Jesus is the beginning, right? He was there. He was there in the beginning. He was with God in the beginning. He's always Alpha, Omega, always
Alpha and
been
Omega.
there. Will be there at the end. So therefore, if something's there at the beginning and is there at the end, well, then it's always there.
I have a weird.
And that's the cool implication.
Yeah. Do you think in this verse, right? He is the one who started this journey of faith, and he's the one that completes this journey of faith. Do you think that it references a single journey amongst others? So I'll give you an example, right? So if you think about, Jesus, a new covenant, I give you, right? You talk about the Israelites is the kind of the old covenant between the God and the people of God, and then Jesus comes and says, "Hey, look, we're gonna do it slightly different, peeps, right? Okay," and gives us this new covenant. So, would you consider that the first journey? Maybe not first, but that was a previous journey. We're on this journey of faith, and like maybe thousands of years later, there'll be another journey of faith. Or do you think they're referencing the complete, like, from the beginning of time until eternity?
Yes.
Okay. You're going with number 2.
Yeah, because
Okay.
yeah, like I think the Genesis opens up, even the oral histories open up with, let's make man and woman in our image. Let's there's this the beginning, like I think that's
A plurality to it.
of divinity at the beginning with the Trinity. So I think the ever presence of Jesus existed before, for his earthly worldly body, and then obviously, post resurrection, his presence and existence as well, and the that journey of faith that we all now have an opportunity to live into is, to your point now, in our post-resurrection theology and existence as Christians, we are in that step of the faith in the journey. But all the things had to happen up until this point. Is that what you're asking? And continuing on.
Yeah, I mean, my thought process is that, because we've talked about before how we are like children, right, to God, and really like this journey of baby, kind of, you really need to be there, nurture, and then young kid, you're kind of the disciplinarian, right? You need to set firm rules and firm boundaries, and you can't do that. You get punished. And then
coaching winner and
then
the
you get to
coaching
stage, right? And so I kind of like, I kind of take it as we're in that, as a human species, we're on this journey of faith. That is, we're in this coaching phase, and there may be another phase in the future, right? We're in this journey of faith.
Yeah.
Right.
We're on you feel a maturity, there's a spiritual maturity that's been able to be entered into after Jesus came to be who he was on earth. Mm-hmm. Right? That didn't exist before.
Yeah.
Right? But it's existed in a different way. So I'd say like the Israelites wandering in the desert following Moses out of Egypt. Like there was definitely an opportunity for spiritual maturity and growth, and they had signs and they had pillars of fire and miracles, and they had real life instances of that solidified their faith, and
even trying to live within what God
within
wanted,
law.
within only taking as much manna as they needed for the day,
Those are
because
all,
God will provide, right? Like even living through that period,
I would say is also very similar to the spiritual journey that we're on in the post in a new covenant generation. As under the old covenant, we're so infantile, there's plenty of room for growth. Right? Is that
right? Yeah. And so like I really look at it as twofold, right? Like I really look at it as almost a singular journey, because back when this was written, Jesus was still pretty fresh, right, in the minds of the people, and I mean, obviously he's still pretty fresh to us, but like, he was like, it was like right there, right? And so they're looking at it from the perspective of we've had all this, and now look at this big monumental shift in our faith, right? In our journey of faith, and Jesus started it, and I really look at and he is the one that completes this journey of faith, as not necessarily an action that he does, but more like when your individual journey of faith is over, there he is, right? You know what I mean? And then you get that hint of Alpha and Omega, right? Start, beginning, the end, the first, the last, right? Yeah, I just for a, and I don't even think that's a whole verse, right? I think that's 2a. There's so much in that 2 sentences that you could, that you can think about, right? Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. As what's kind of funny is, when we're in vacation Bible school and you're talking to the kids about about that. There's so much more to unpack than than it. So anyway, I want to like flip for a second.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about why Pastor Adam has in his life owned a jersey from a team that's not the Chiefs. He admits
He brought that up, huh?
He admits that he had a Chargers player jersey.
Well, my son
was allowed.
son's
picture.
a huge Chargers fan.
Well, that's okay. That's okay.
I know. I'm saying
That's
he's
all right.
he's a huge Chargers.
Does he wear a
fan.
Chiefs jersey?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
And
because he's a Chargers fan.
Anyway, he's taken a lot of grief from. He's taken a lot of nonsense off Pastor Adam over the years, and now what a surprise revelation this is.
Yeah. So we talk about journey of faith.
Yeah,
Obviously, Pastor Adams
feels very comfortable in his surroundings right now.
Has had a little faith problems with the Chiefs.
Has faltered.
Just pointing that out. It's very apropos right now.
I thought you were going to talk about VBS snacks for a minute whenever we transition. I thought that's where we were going.
Oh, we can if you want.
Look, if you're out there listening and you're not a Vacation Bible School volunteer, like spending that week with the kids is amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That opportunity to kind of just impact their life. Like you just spend a couple hours, 4 evenings in a row, with the same team of kids, and they just make these connections with you. Ends up with inside jokes. There's
the amount of hugs on the last day between the kids and the volunteers.
Yeah, they don't want to leave. They want to just the relationship that can be built in such a short time frame is amazing. So, and even if none of that appeals to you, the buffet of snacks offered in the volunteer lounge is impressive.
Do you know who's responsible for said snacks?
I think I might. I might be sitting across the podcast table from me.
That is
but
right.
This was
that is
not,
accurate.
You know, I wouldn't do a shameless plug to build you up like that. That's not a thing I do.
I am a good snacker, in general.
But
we claim that we're snackaholics in our household. Okay. I don't mind a good dinner of just snacks. Like you get your meat tray out, you get your cheese tray out, you get
we call it snacky lunch.
Yeah.
Snacky lunch.
Yeah, I love it. So obviously we're trying to, the goal of the snack room at Vacation Bible School for the volunteers is to give them a little break, let them sit down, give them a little sugar, a little energy.
Okay.
But think about it. It starts at 6. So the volunteers are usually here by 5:30, 5:15. Some of them just got off work. They're not going to eat until 8:30 or so. So you got to have some substance too for the people that are a little hungry.
Yeah. What's the it's the Sour Patch Kids,
Airheads, pretzels,
Takis.
Those are the kids' favorite. We tried some Takis. Have you tried them before?
Oh, I love the Takis.
Do you?
Oh, yeah. We want to talk.
Oh, that's right. You like the original.
Let's talk Takis.
Let's talk about it.
I like the red ones.
Okay.
There is the knockoff Dorito ones are pretty delightful. The red ones are good. The blue ones,
that's what I tried the other day. The blue one.
My son's favorite.
They're really good. They have a really great flavor, but there's this weird back heat to it where
that's what Owen says.
Where it sticks in your throat. You're chewing them and you're like, man, this isn't spicy. It's got some spice to it, but it's this isn't hot. I'm not dying for some water here.
I bit the inside of my lip really bad.
And then ate a Taki.
And it's 4 days ago, right?
Oh,
But like broke the skin, like had a little skin
Then
flap that came off. I like kind of gnawed that off,
Yeah,
like probably
yeah.
something you're not supposed to do. And like that's healing up, but it's like an ulcer, right? And I just like rubbed some Taki sauce in there. Yeah, it was like
Sang in a different octave.
yeah. It was.
People like did not know you were an alto.
We used to get this. A friend of mine. We used to get this. This sushi dish. We'd always finish with it at this little sushi restaurant in Denver called Sushi Heights, and they had this dish called wasabi tobiku, and it was the roe, the little eggs, but they were mixed in wasabi, so it was made into this little it was like a little paste. So it was a rice it was a little bitty pat of rice, and then it had the seaweed wrap on it, so it made it like a little chef's hat, and then it was packed. The top was packed with the little roe wasabi mixture.
Yeah.
And anyway, you pop that thing in your mouth, and all that wasabi goes straight to your brain, right? Because it was such a big mouthful when you munched, it all went up your sinus cavities. And
Oh my gosh.
it was like an ice cream headache backwards.
Dude.
Anyway, but that was very similar to the Taki, the Taki dust in lacerated lip.
I bit the inside of my cheek once, I think when I was like 20 something, and it got so big. I actually have a scar inside. I couldn't eat. I hate it when you bite it and then you try to eat something and it's like now it's inflamed, so you're just chomping on the inside of your terrible. And I have a scar on the inside.
That's impressive.
From it. I can feel it now.
That is impressive.
Yeah. Well, that's the time that we have.
I know.
I don't know where the time went.
I know, but we ended on snacks.
We'll end it on this now.
Okay.
Okay. Have you used your salt block yet on your grill?
That's a no for me, dog. I will.
I mean, it's summertime. It's the perfect grilling season.
It's VBS week.
Vacation Bible School did take a lot of time, but now you're free. You've got you went on the mission trip, and then you had Vacation Bible School. So I'll give you that. But this weekend,
okay,
use it. We got to talk about it. I want to know if it's worthwhile.
All right.
That's it.
Okay.
We'll see you next week.
All right. Have a good one.